if time isn't as fixed as we think? In this journey through the mysterious folds of reality, we dive into astonishing tales of accidental time travel and unexplained temporal glitches. From a grieving boy turned pioneering physicist determined to rewrite his past, to a self-proclaimed traveler from the year 3036, and even secrets tangled within powerful families and covert organizations, each story challenges our very perception of time. Get ready to question the boundaries of past, present, and future as we uncover the hidden intersections of science, history, and the surreal. Welcome to a world where every moment might just be a portal to another reality. What if a personal tragedy could light the spark for defying physics itself? Meet Professor Ronald Mallet, a man whose childhood heartbreak transformed into a lifelong quest to bend time. At just 10 years old, Mallet's world was shattered by the sudden loss of his beloved father, Boyd. In the midst of overwhelming grief, he discovered solace in the pages of H.G. Wells' The Time Machine and the revolutionary ideas of Einstein. These readings planted a radical seed in his mind. What if time, much like space, could be traveled? With his heart set on rewriting the past, young Mallet vowed to journey back to 1955 to save his father. Fueling his dreams with determination, Mallet dove deep into the world of physics. Even as a child cobbling together a makeshift model from bicycle parts, spare TV components, and old radio bits, his ideas transcended mere fantasy. He was captivated by a single transformative line. Scientific people know very well that time is just a kind of space, which propelled him into a stellar academic career. Over the decades, he advanced from a curious, grief-stricken boy in the Bronx into one of the pioneering theoretical physicists of his generation. Now an emeritus professor at the University of Connecticut, Mallet's research centers on the audacious idea, twisting the fabric of space-time with a ring of rotating lasers. Imagine stirring a cup of coffee until the swirl creates a vortex. Mallet theorizes that a similar effect occurs near a rotating black hole, where space-time itself gets dragged along. By replicating such conditions with a continuously spinning beam of light, he believes a loop of time might be created. A portal, if you will, that allows travel back along the timeline. Although the practical hurdles remain enormous, his critics point out that such a machine would require astronomical amounts of energy, likening it to a galactic-scale feat. His theory has sparked serious discussion in academic circles. Institutions like MIT and specialized departments worldwide are now studying aspects of time reversal and related phenomena, signaling that time travel might be less outlandish than once thought. While Mallet's ultimate goal, to return to 1955 and rewrite personal history, remains beyond our reach, and, by his own admission, might only ever allow travel back to the moment the time loop was created, his work has broader, inspiring implications. He envisions a future where the ability to manipulate time could be harnessed for incredible advances, predicting natural disasters with precision, inventing breakthrough treatments in medicine, or even curbing the impact of catastrophic events like pandemics. In this light, his research is less about personal revenge against fate and more about opening doors to potential innovations that could transform the well-being of humanity. His journey from a grieving child to a celebrated astrophysicist illustrates how heartache can fuel intellectual curiosity, inspiring us to question the rigid boundaries of our reality. In his eyes, his father's memory is not just a source of sorrow, but the spark that ignited a legacy of discovery. And in my opinion, that is the best legacy he could have left, and I can only imagine how proud his father would have been. Andrew Bessiago is a controversial figure who claims that as a child, he was recruited into a secret US government project, often associated with the mysterious Project Pegasus that allegedly enabled him to traverse both space and time. According to his narrative, these experimental missions allowed him not only to visit different points in history, but also to glimpse potential futures, suggesting that the rigid boundaries between past, present, and future might be more flexible than mainstream science acknowledges. Andrew's accounts describe surreal journeys during which he purportedly witnessed historical events firsthand and interacted with realities that challenge our conventional understanding of time. While his stories have captured the imagination of time travel enthusiasts and sparked intriguing debates within alternative scientific circles, mainstream researchers remain skeptical, citing a lack of empirical evidence to substantiate these extraordinary claims. I know the claims sound outlandish, but this is also coming from a person who is apparently a practicing and educated attorney. It all really is interesting, and hey, I could see it being true, and also untrue, so I guess I'll just let you decide on this one. Could it be a hidden hand that has been subtly rewriting our timeline all along? Some researchers point to a peculiar spike in Mandela effect searches around 2005, speculating that one mysterious figure might be at the root of these temporal oddities. They draw connections between little-known details, like Donald Trump's uncle, once a respected MIT professor who played a role in World War II, and his family's acquisition of Nikola Tesla's private research, which was later funneled to John Trump for analysis after Tesla's demise. This web of intrigue deepens when you factor in figures such as Alfred Lee Loomis, a key collaborator in the Manhattan Project and pioneer of cyclotron technology, who reportedly worked closely with John Trump. Then there's the curious role of Prince Bernhard, a co-founder of both CERN and the Bilderberg Group, who reportedly orchestrated a covert mission to collect and repurpose German scientific research on the Heidelberg cyclotron after World War II, a move seen by some as part of a larger hidden agenda against Nazi Germany. All of these connections hint at a clandestine effort where cutting-edge science, government cover-ups, and historical revisionism intermingle, leaving us to wonder if our understanding of time has been manipulated by forces determined to keep these secrets buried beneath layers of conspiracy and intrigue. Could a year in space turn your body into a real-life time machine, rewriting how you age? Consider the famous twin paradox from Einstein's playbook. One twin zooming through space at near light speed should age slower than the twin left on Earth, but real-life evidence from NASA's twin astronauts tells a twisty tale. Astronaut Scott Kelly, who spent nearly a year aboard the International Space Station, appears to have aged slightly faster than his identical Earthbound twin Mark, a striking example of how the extreme conditions of space can warp not only your surroundings but also your very biological clock. When Scott ventured into low Earth orbit, he wasn't hurtling through space at light speed. Instead, his body faced a cocktail of space-related challenges. Constant exposure to radiation, the stress of microgravity, disrupted sleep cycles, and the cramped confines of a space station. These factors combined to accelerate certain aspects of his aging process. While traditional time dilation from high-speed travel remains safely in Einstein's theoretical realm, Scott's experience hints at a more earthly sort of time travel, one that happens inside our cells. One of the quirkiest findings from the NASA twins study was that Scott's telomeres, the protective caps at the ends of our chromosomes that naturally shorten as we age, actually lengthened while he was in space, in a way that seemed like a reverse aging effect, a biological nod to the possibility of time reversal. But here's the catch: once he returned to Earth, those telomere gains vanished, and in fact, he ended up with more short telomeres than before his flight. This sudden flip-flop raises both scientific questions and health concerns, pointing to a long-term risk of accelerated aging or even an increased chance of developing age-related diseases. So next time you glance at the clock, ponder this. Could the ticking of our timepieces be subtly affected by where we are, or even by the very environment we inhabit? With every venture into space, humanity inches closer to understanding the intricate dance between time, biology, and the cosmos. What if the sound of crashing waves carried echoes of centuries past? Down in the quaint coastal town of Broadhaven, Wales, local residents and visitors have reported moments where time itself seems to rewind. One well-documented account tells of a family enjoying a sunny beach day, only to be startled when the laughter of children and the clatter of horse-drawn carriage sounds seemingly out of place filled the air. For a few breathless minutes, the modern seaside transformed into a scene reminiscent of the 19th century. Old-fashioned attire, vintage beach umbrellas, and even a glimpse of a forgotten seaside fair emerged as if summoned by the tides. Though no definitive evidence proves a temporal shift, the repetitive detail and specificity of these tales have earned the spot a reputation among time slip enthusiasts. It remains a beloved piece of local lore, inviting curious visitors to watch the horizon and wonder if, just for a moment, history might be unfolding right before their eyes. Picture an unidentified man claiming he's a time traveler from the year 3036 recently found himself in hot water with the law after being arrested for stealing. Authorities were immediately baffled. He had no birth record, no social security number, and no official identification on file. When asked about his actions, he explained that in his time, clothing and food are freely available in marketplaces, so taking them without paying is completely normal. His assertion that this behavior is standard in his future society not only added a surreal twist to the encounter, but also sparked a mixture of intrigue and amusement among those who heard the story. Whether he is truly from 3036 or merely spinning an elaborate tale remains a bit of a mystery, leaving everyone to wonder just how much of our current reality might one day be influenced by bizarre future customs. In the mid-1970s, an 8-year-old scout from a quiet suburban neighborhood just south of Stockholm experienced a baffling episode of missing time. On an ordinary October evening, after returning from a scout meeting by foot, he followed his well-known route home until, near a familiar roundabout, everything suddenly slowed down. A deep subwoofer-like hum filled the air, and the world around him seemed to freeze in a tunnel vision moment lasting only 15 or 20 seconds. When his senses returned, he discovered that a sudden rain had drenched his clothes and sneakers, an unexpected change from the clear sky he remembered moments before. Hurrying home, he was met by his frantic parents, who insisted that he had been missing for over an hour. They explained that while they had searched the neighborhood and even contacted other parents, he had simply vanished without a trace. In later conversations, his father recalled retracing the boy's usual path in disbelief, and his mother, with a mix of humor and lingering concern, even suggested that he might have been abducted by aliens. To this day, as an adult reflecting on that lost hour, he remains mystified by the inexplicable event, with no clear memory of seeing anything other than the eerie quiet of frozen time. In the summer of 2011, a peculiar incident unfolded for a family en route to a campsite that left them baffled for years. While a 19-year-old, his sister, their father, and stepmother drove along, enjoying the journey and switching radio stations, everything seemed normal until they passed through a tunnel. Emerging on the other side, a phone call from their nan shattered their routine. She sounded relieved, asking where they were, though her and their uncle had already reached the campsite hours earlier. The conversation was utterly baffling. The father, confused by the nan's query of "where have you been," soon discovered that, according to the radio's clock, 4 hours had inexplicably vanished in what felt like mere seconds. In stunned silence, the family grappled with the surreal loss of time. Their phones confirmed that hours had indeed passed. Later discussions yielded wild theories. The father speculated that they might have slipped through a time vortex or have been abducted, while the stepmother, a general practitioner, suggested that they may have simply misjudged the passage of time or experienced a shared moment of amnesia or another delusion. Ultimately, despite occasional mentions among the family, the mystery of that 30-second lapse in time remains unsolved.
And we're starting off our list with a traveler who has some pretty bad news for animal lovers out there. John, a self-proclaimed time traveler, claims to have actually come from the year 4000 and traveled back in time with some interesting details about the future. Apparently, in the year 4000, technology will have advanced to such an extent that artificial intelligence dominates most of the world. He describes a world where AI merges with daily human activity, leading to a new era where biological and artificial entities coexist almost seamlessly. Seems like this is going to happen way sooner than the year 4000 though. One of the more specific claims John makes is about the way corporations will evolve in the future. He states that all companies will be owned by a single mega corporation that uses AI to manage its operations. This corporation supposedly designs, builds, and controls robots that perform nearly all types of jobs, pushing humans out of the workforce. According to John, the result is a society where human labor is no longer necessary and robots handle most tasks. John also notes that these advancements in AI and robotics lead to changes in the environment and the social structure of society. He also states that pets like cats and dogs won't be a thing anymore, and that all birds were destroyed in order to prevent them from colliding with flying cars. Aren't there a lot more things we could collide with, like driving normal cars, than like up in the sky? Why don't we destroy everything in our path, already? I don't know. That's an odd one. Next up, we have a man named William Taylor who has some pretty wild things to say about the future, and interesting side note, he also passed a lie detector test, apparently. Now, I know lie detector tests aren't always foolproof, but not many people who claim to have traveled to the future have gone through any kind of test like that. So if that is true about the test, I don't know, that's kind of interesting. In 2018, a man named William Taylor claimed to have been part of a British intelligence project in which he traveled all the way to the year 8973. And he said that things were, or will be, actually pretty good in the distant future, so good in fact that he didn't even want to leave and come back to this time. Now, the only thing is that humans won't exist anymore, not the way we do currently anyway. Instead, a species of human-robot hybrids will populate the Earth, but no disease or crime will plague it, and these beings experience eternal life. Taylor also revealed some other intriguing information, like how time travel has actually been used by world governments since 1981. The technology was apparently reverse engineered from alien spacecrafts. A TikTok channel called Real TikTok Time Traveler started posting some pretty outlandish videos in 2022, mainly because this anonymous user claimed to be a time traveler. Is a channel the correct term when it comes to TikTok, by the way? Page? Like, do you say just like user? I'm very out of touch. I don't know where I am. Help me. But they've posted tons of videos making all kinds of claims about what the future holds, most of it pretty dark, because that's what people just love gobbling up. They claim to be from the year 2236 and mostly post about events that will be playing out over the next 10 years. Some of their standouts include, in 2025, scientists discovering signs of life on 2 different planets that are proven to be more advanced than humans, and a meteor coming down to Earth in 2034 that will wipe out half of America. So look forward to that. Alaric goes by the handle Radiant Time Traveler on TikTok and has shared some pretty grave warnings about the future. He claims to be from the year 2671, and in his latest video, he lets the fine people of the internet know about some of the notable stuff that's going to go down in the remainder of 2024. Keep May 15th marked down in your calendar, because an alien race is going to show up on Earth and transport 10,000 people to another planet. But aliens coming to Earth isn't going to catch our attention for long though, because May 27th marks the beginning of the next American Civil War, which will then lead to the outbreak of World War III. But don't be too worried about your hands or feet being blown off in the war, because less than a month after the fighting kicks off, a new fruit will be discovered that helps regrow lost limbs. Also in June, the very first human-chimp hybrid will be created, and June 19th also sees a new type of storm form called a mind storm, which causes people to lose their minds and go on violent rampages. As if World War III isn't enough already. Now we have a 28 days later situation on our hands. But the best part of it all, summer, it's really gonna end with a bang. When real-life dragons are discovered in the Rocky Mountains. They fly, they breathe fire, and they even speak English. Yes, specifically English. Sorry to everyone else in the world. You'll just have to watch these dragons fly around while we chat with them. Next on the list we have Darkness Time Traveler. Now, our boy Darkness has a pretty ominous bio on his TikTok channel / page / whatever you call it, reading, "Darkness is coming. The Shadow Network is almost here," from the year 2858. The Shadow Network, Jankies. I'm guessing that's not just a TV station that shows clips of shadows 24/7. In Darkness's latest video, they claim that the solar eclipse that just went down last week was actually a smokescreen for a bunch of alien beings to fly down to Earth on meteors, obscured from our view because of the eclipse. Because apparently we wouldn't be able to see meteors flying down the Earth because it's a little bit darker out. These alien beings are known by many other alien species though as the Planet Enders, or Endids. They spell it two different ways in the video. Gonna guess they wrote the text in haste though to make sure we all got this information in time. People from 2858 can make spelling mistakes too. Anyway, the Planet Endids have invaded a plethora of planets across the galaxy, and aside from their warmongering, violent ways, they've also brought a disease with them to Earth, the same disease that wiped out the alien beings who apparently once lived on Mars. So these invaders have been among us for about a week now at the time of this recording, awaiting the perfect time to strike. Because you guys are kind of watching this in the future, at least compared to me, why don't you let me know down in the comments what's going on. Our journey through time continues with a mysterious man simply known as Edward. In 2018, a man calling himself Edward came out claiming to be a time traveler from the year 5000. He said he'd been part of a top secret government time travel mission in 2004, where he traveled to the year 5000. He gave an interview where he shared a photo of what he said was Los Angeles in the future, and according to him, the city will be submerged underwater due to massive flooding caused by climate change. To substantiate his claim, Edward provided a photograph which he said depicted the future state of LA. In the photo, he described seeing skyscrapers and other buildings submerged in water, with only the tops visible above the waterline. He also stated that in the future, the effects of global warming will cause sea levels to rise significantly, leading to widespread flooding in coastal cities around the world, including Los Angeles, and that the inhabitants of these cities will have to adapt to new living conditions, with the remaining population living on the water's surface. Next, we have the Greek military time travelers. In 2017, an anonymous man claimed that after serving in the Greek military for 6 years, he was invited in 2013 to participate in a top secret time travel project. According to his account, this project saw him travel to the year 3207, a journey that lasted 2 days. From his perspective, about a month after his story came out, another anonymous man from Greece also said he was a student, when in 2008 he was reportedly approached by a professor who offered him the chance to be part of a time travel experiment. He accepted and claimed to have been sent to the year 10,000. The purpose of this experiment was said to be related to gaining knowledge about a future war between humans and artificial intelligence. Again, I think they sent him way too far into the future if it's a war between humans and artificial intelligence. 10,000? That's pretty far up there. Maybe there's something wrong with the machine. And also, I mean, according to some other time travelers we've discussed already, that's a war we won't be winning. They could have just asked them, saved the whole trip. Next up, we have Athos Salame, who's now being referred to as the modern-day Nostradamus. He's made all these predictions about the future, a lot of them very similar to the type of stuff we've heard of before when it comes to end-of-the-world conspiracies, alien contact coming soon, AI reaching a new level of awareness and taking over, more deadly natural disasters, a big war, soon we'll be able to communicate with the dead through artificial intelligence technology, all your standard stuff. But what I find really genuinely interesting And kind of creepy about this whole thing is that I'm honestly not even sure if this Athos Salame guy is a real person. I've seen plenty of pictures of him, and I've read news articles quoting things he's apparently said. I've seen other people in videos quoting things he said. I'm one of them. We have a whole video on this guy on the channel. Check it out after this. But I haven't seen footage of him actually moving his mouth and talking on video. I've seen like one, but it's like a narrator over top of it, and it's like low quality. It could be AI generated. And I mean, just look at him. Doesn't he look like he could be an AI generated image to you? I mean, all these news articles say he makes TikTok videos, but I can't find them. So what the hell is actually going on here? Who is Athos Salame? Is there a real person behind all these predictions, or is this some kind of artificially created thing? And if so, who created it? Next up, we have a man who claimed to have traveled through time with Barack Obama, Andrew Bosiago. Bosiago claimed he was part of Project Pegasus, a secret US government initiative that he says took place during the 60s and 70s. This project focused on developing technology for teleportation and time travel. He said he was chosen as a participant when he was just a young tyke because of his father's connection to the project. The technologies he mentioned included the chronovisor and teleporters. A chronovisor is said to be a device that allows users to view events from the past and future, while teleporters are said to enable physical travel across time and space instantaneously. But he didn't just go forwards in time, no, he traveled back to 1863, where he witnessed the Gettysburg Address delivered by President Abe Lincoln himself. Bosiago was very public with his claims. At one point, he even ran for president, with part of his platform promising to reveal the secrets of time travel and teleportation technology. I mean, how did he not win the presidency? Doesn't everyone want to know all of these secrets? It was a cheap tactic, but I guess in the end, it didn't work anyway. Finally, we have the one and only John Titer. This is probably the most well-known time-traveling claim in the history of the internet. Now, of course, the whole thing is very far-fetched, but what is interesting about these posts are how detailed they are. Whoever this John Titer really is or was, quite the imagination. Or he's a real time traveler, obviously. So it all began in November of 2000 when someone started posting on online forums claiming to be an American military time traveler from the year 2036. They later start using the name John Titer in future posts, and according to Titer, he was sent back to 1975 originally to retrieve an IBM 5100 computer in order to read older programming languages in the future. He claims this machine was needed to debug legacy computer programs that existed in his time. And on his way back to 2036, Titer claimed he made a stopover in the year 2000 for personal reasons, and during this time is when he decided to interact with people on internet message boards. He gave detailed explanations about how his time machine and how time travel worked in general. He included diagrams and descriptions of its operation based on theoretical physics concepts. Till this day, it's still a complete mystery as to who this guy was. Was it just some dude having some fun? Was it a social experiment of some kind? We'll probably never know. What I do know though is that his whole story was a bit more interesting than just like, oh, aliens invade in the future. Going back from an old IBM computer? I don't know. Creative. So in 2016, a team of archaeologists in Mongolia made a strange discovery. It was a 1500-year-old mummy buried in the Altai Mountains. The body was impressively well preserved, but what really set off the internet were the shoes. People swore they looked exactly like a pair of modern Adidas sneakers. Observe the black stripes, the overall sporty design. Photos of the find started popping up online, and of course, the time travel talk began. Were they serious? For the most part, no. Were a few people serious though? Yeah, probably. Why would someone from over 1,000 years ago be wearing something that looked like it came straight from a footlocker? People said. What the hell is footlocker? Said the Zoomers. Is that like jail for people's feet, or MMA move? I'm not crazy, right? Like, there's not as many footlockers as there used to be. Anyway, even if it wasn't Adidas, the style was bizarrely modern. Well, that's when the experts stepped in, and by that I do not mean Footlocker employees, I mean archaeologists and historians who addressed the issue at hand, or should I say issue at foot. And they said, no, these are not Adidas. Stripes were apparently part of traditional Mongolian stitching, and the shape of the shoe was just I don't know, a coincidence, I guess. According to researchers, it wasn't meant to look like a sneaker, it just aged in a way that made it look familiar to us now. This is what Mike Tyson used to look like before his face tattoo. This is footage from his 1995 boxing match with Peter McNeely, but when you slow it down and zoom in on a guy sitting ringside, something looks kinda out of place. Someone looks like they're holding up something that looks exactly like a smartphone, filming vertically, which is weird because it's 1995. Phones like that just didn't exist yet. The first smartphones were still years away, and the first phones with video cameras were even further off. But this guy is clearly holding something slim and rectangular. You can even see a lens glint in the light, like it's catching the action. So what was it? Well, some say it was just a camcorder, but camcorders in the mid-90s were clunky, didn't hold them like a phone. Others say maybe it was a prototype. I don't know. I think the most probable answer, though, is that someone who was so distraught over his fight with Jake Paul, or whatever you want to call that, I don't even know if it was a fight, but in their desperation, they were somehow able to craft a working time machine, using it to, of course, travel back to the mid-90s to see Mike Tyson right after he got out of prison. It's an odd time to choose, not quite his prime, but he was still winning fights. Regardless, though, if you're gonna go back in time, you're not going to leave your cell phone behind, right? So this one comes from a 1938 video. It's quick, but take a look at the woman who has her hand to her ear. Notice something? It really looks like she's talking on a cell phone, doesn't it? Now, obviously, that makes zero sense. Cell phones weren't a thing for another 60 years, so of course people started tossing around their theories. Aside from people debunking it, though, there are really only two theories people have: that this chick's either a time traveler, or this is a case of some sort of glitch in reality. Like whatever computer overlord is controlling our reality accidentally added a cell phone to a video supposedly shot long before they were invented. Makes sense to me, but the official explanation is more boring. Interesting in its own way, though. So a woman came forward years later claiming that it was her great aunt in the footage. According to her, a factory she was working at had an experimental communications division, and the workers were testing out wireless radios. That's supposedly what this woman was holding, a two-way radio prototype. Kinda cool. But if that technology was available in 1938, why did it take another half century to get mobile phones into people's hands? I don't know, I just make videos about sea monsters and ghosts. The hell do I know, really? Cell phones are all over this list. Seems like this is the only way to tell if someone's traveled back in time and showed up on camera. So this one comes from a behind-the-scenes video that was included as a bonus feature for Charlie Chaplin's 1928 movie, The Circus. Shows people arriving for the film's premiere. It's street footage outside the theater in Los Angeles. But if you look closely, there's a woman walking by in the background doing something very weird for 1928. She's holding something up to her ear, and she's talking into it, like she's on a cellular telephone. Filmmaker George Clark posted the clip online back in 2010, and he called it Chaplin's Time Traveler. The mainstream explanation is that she's using an early hearing aid. Apparently those did exist in the late 20s, and some of them had to be held up to the ear like that. I don't know, news to me. Did a man somehow teleport onto this road in Russia? Take a look at this. It's always Russia, isn't it? I don't know why so much bizarre footage comes out of there, but this is a very strange video. I just don't understand where this guy appeared from and how he didn't get pancaked by that truck. Makes no sense. Slowing the video down though, I don't know, maybe it looks like he was already walking on the road and the truck was just blocking our view of him, and then it does this insane swerve to avoid hitting him, but even still, this is crazy. I mean, it really does look like he just spawns out of nowhere like a video game. And whatever the explanation, he was definitely an inch from death. This one comes from a photo taken in... I'm sorry, editor. Just gonna have to insert the name in text here. This place is in Iceland. It's 1943. Nothing out of the ordinary here, right? Just a bunch of people standing around the street dressed in typical 1940s attire, but let's play some Where's Waldo. Can you spot a dude talking on a cell phone? See the guy leaning against the building? Interesting indeed. He's dressed more casually than everyone else, almost modern. I mean, he's wearing a trench coat, but modern. He's holding something up to his ear though, like he's on a phone call. Now, obviously flip phones weren't a thing in 1943, so what's this lad here doing? Was he just checking or adjusting a pipe by listening to it? Was he scratching his face with something? Absolutely not. Don't be ridiculous. This fool was talking on a cell phone. He didn't think yours truly would notice, but I did. I did. Sue me. Honestly though, it really does look like someone using a cell phone. Like a guy who stepped out to take a call, during a street fair or something. There's a short film from the UK that was shot in the early 1940s. It shows a bunch of people relaxing on a beach. Got kids building sandcastles, there's people reading newspapers. But right in the middle of the frame, this one guy walks through holding something. And yes, sorry for the lack of variety here, but it really looks like this man has a cell phone or some other modern piece of technology. But instead of talking on it, looks like he's texting. At least that's what a bunch of people online have said. He just looks weirdly modern and out of place. The suit probably has something to do with it. I don't think I've ever seen someone in a suit and tie at the beach. Maybe Doctor Who? But what does Doctor Who do? I don't know, you tell me. I'm Star Trek all the way, but I think he has time traveled. In 2008, a team of archaeologists in China opened what was supposed to be a completely sealed tomb, untouched for about 400 years. As they carefully went through the site, they found something on the floor, a small metal object that looked like a watch. Wasn't an ancient sundial or a decorative bracelet or something. This was an actual modern looking watch. The time was stuck at 10:06 and the back of it was engraved with the word Swiss. Now a find like this makes no sense. Wristwatches weren't invented until long after the tomb was sealed, and while Switzerland is definitely known for watches today, the idea that a Swiss branded watch somehow ended up in a centuries old Chinese tomb was very odd, to say the least. So yes, some believe this was a case of someone slipping into the past and leaving behind their watch before returning to their own time. So this is Greta Thunberg, and this is not Greta Thunberg. Apparently. That's because this photo was taken in 1898 during the Klondike Gold Rush. The similarity is uncanny though. She even has the same braid, same serious expression. Suffice to say, this photo blew up online. Some took it as a joke, calling her a time traveler sent back to warn us, but there are totally people out there who fully believe Greta's part of a secret government time travel program. What do you all think? And of course, we gotta talk about this one. This photo was taken in 1941 at the reopening of the South Fork Bridge in British Columbia. It's your typical black and white historical image. Everyone's standing around in old-fashioned coats and hats and suits, except for one guy. One dude looks like he walked straight out of a college campus in the 2000s. He's wearing what looks like a modern sweater with a graphic tee underneath and sunglasses. He's also holding a small camera that seems pretty compact for the time. He sticks out so badly, it's almost like someone photoshopped him in. But that's not the case here. Forums and YouTube videos started popping up, calling him the time-traveling hipster. But of course, there's always someone ready to kill the vibe. Debunkers pointed out that the sunglasses were actually around in the 20s and 30s. The printed t-shirt is likely just a sweater with a Stitch logo, yada yada. And while the camera does look modern, compact cameras apparently did exist then. They just weren't super common, but I don't know. Alright, we're gonna start things off with John Titer. This individual claimed to be a time traveler from the year 2036. So in 2000, posts started showing up on various online forums by a man known as John Titer, sharing detailed accounts of his time travel experiences and predictions about the future. According to Titer, he was a soldier sent back in time to retrieve an IBM 5100 computer, which he claimed was necessary to debug various computer systems in his future. He provided technical details about the time machine he used, describing it as a stationary mass temporal displacement unit powered by two top-spin dual positive singularities. Titer also claimed that he traveled back to the year 1975 before making a pit stop in the early 2000s. Included in this series of posts were predictions about future events, including some ominous warnings about the impending collapse of society. Titer wrote that there would be a World War III and claimed that it would result in widespread chaos, with cities becoming uninhabitable and governments collapsing. You know what? I appreciate how creative this guy is. I'm actually very entertained by it. Good job on John Titer's part, even though that's most likely very much not his real name. Alright, next up we have Edgar Cayce, often referred to as the Sleeping Prophet. He was an American psychic who did most of his work in the early to mid 1900s. He was known for entering into this deep, trance-like state while giving readings on a wide range of topics like health, spirituality, Atlantis for some reason came up a lot, and of course future events. Now he didn't explicitly discuss time travel, but he did describe his consciousness leaving his body, combining this with future prophecies, and that's basically traveling in time. Cayce's predictions often revolved around a concept he referred to as the Earth changes. According to his readings, these changes were geological and environmental shifts that would happen in the future, leading to problems. Some of his predictions included the shifting of the Earth's axis, which would result in changes in climate and sea levels. He also spoke of societal and political catastrophe, saying the only way to avoid it was through spiritual awakening and moral development as a society to help mitigate the severity of these events. Alright, we're following that up with a pretty incredible man. A man who's not only traveled through time, future, and past, but has also traveled through space, making multiple trips to and from Mars. Ladies and gentlemen of Most Amazing Top 10, please give a warm and enthusiastic round of claps to none other than Andrew Bosiago. Bosiago claims to have been a participant in a secretive government project involved in time travel as a young boy. It was called Project Pegasus, which he says was developed by the United States government in the 60s and 70s. According to him, the project involved teleportation and time travel experiments, and he claims to have been sent to various points in the past and future. One of Bosiago's most sensational claims is that he was sent back in time to witness historical events, including the Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln in 1863. He's also talked about how he traveled to the future and saw potential catastrophic events, including a vision of a devastated Washington, D.C. Bosiago's accounts involve the use of a device called a chronovisor, which I love, and a teleportation technology known as teleporters. He also describes these technologies as being capable of manipulating time and space, allowing folks to travel to different eras and locations instantaneously. So if you want to learn more about these time travel events, just ask Barack Obama, because apparently he was right there with Bosiago for some of these time travel trips. Let's throw a witch into the mix, shall we? Mother Shipton. One tale goes that her mother Agatha was a witch herself and summoned the devil before her to bring her a child. And that child was Ursula Southill, aka Mother Shipton, who instead of crying like most babies when she was born, made an unsettling cackling sound because she was a half and half. Dad was a devil, mom was a witch. Bit of a nasty shock for everyone when they found out. She lived in the 16th century, and her predictions, which were often in the form of rhymes, have been studied and analyzed for centuries. Her verses are filled with vivid imagery and poetic language. She prophesies technological advancements, political changes, and horrible natural disasters. She's said to have predicted the invention of cars, submarines, and even airplanes. But she also made vague predictions about the end times. The original date was 1821, which obviously didn't come true, unless we're all just living in some Matrix-style computer simulation or something. So the end of the world date keeps being reassessed and bumped forward. Don't worry though, guys, things will all come crashing down eventually. Next up, we have Harold Camping, a former Christian radio evangelist. This guy used his mind to travel to the future so often, they just kept fumbling the dates of his doomsday predictions and had to keep reassessing and, again, bumping them up. Unfortunately though, everything just kept on being okay. First he said the world was going to end in early September of 94. It didn't, but he was adamant that 94 was going to be the year and reassessed and realized, oh wait, it's actually end of September. Sorry, 29th, not the 6th. Then he bumped it up to October and so on. But you know what? I can't imagine being clairvoyant is very easy on the brain. It must be a bit confusing and overwhelming to the senses. Anyway, then he said Christ was going to return on May 21st of 2011, which was a good thing for him and his followers, but bad for everyone else, of course, as the pitiful non-believers were going to be suffering an eternal torment. It was a very exciting time, but sadly, May 21st passed on without any horrific suffering, on a mass scale anyway. I guess somebody's suffering every day. So Harold Camping, being the incredible clairvoyant wizard that he was, said, well, the spiritual judgment, that happened on May 21st. We've all been assessed, getting everyone's paperwork together, but get excited, folks. October, that's when the physical rapture is gonna happen. And it didn't. And apparently Camping was clairvoyant enough to know it too, because he quit working on the radio station just a few days before this apparent biblical apocalypse was set to take place. space. If there's two things that seem to go together like chocolate and peanut butter, it's time travel and space travel. And that's exactly why I have Heaven's Gate cult leader Marshall Applewhite on the list. This guy firmly believed the world was coming to an end and that the only way to survive was to ascend to a higher plane of existence by shedding the physical form and reaching the very creatively titled Next Level, where he and his followers would live a happy, transcendent existence in space. Most of you know how this went. Applewhite and the rest of the Heaven's Gate cult donned their uniforms, complete with armbands reading Heaven's Gate Away Team, and consumed heavy amounts of a certain substance, washing it down with vodka, before suffocating themselves with plastic bags over their head. I'm not really sure why they needed the uniforms, seeing as the whole point was they were shedding their physical forms, but who am I, right? You know? Rudolph Steiner. This guy was the founder of a spiritual movement called anthroposophy. His teachings delved into the nature of existence, human consciousness, and the spiritual world in general. His philosophy often touched on the idea of spiritual evolution and the cyclical nature of existence. He often discussed reincarnation in his work, meaning that, according to him, people go through multiple lifetimes to learn and evolve spiritually, so it may not be time travel in a conventional sense, but it does imply a journey through time on a more spiritual level. He also spoke about the idea that humanity is on a path of development, and our collective actions and choices play a big role in shaping the future, and a major consequence of humanity not developing spiritually, again, according to him, meant that a very dark future was ahead. Next on the list is David Meade. This guy is a conspiracy theorist and author who's made a number of predictions about an impending apocalypse, mostly linking it to a planet called Nibiru, or Planet X. Meade, who identifies as a Christian numerologist, claimed to have uncovered hidden codes within the Bible, using them to predict specific celestial events. His predictions have focused on the alignment of celestial bodies and certain numerical calculations that point to a catastrophic collision between Earth and Planet X. I remember hearing a lot about this Doomsday prediction leading up to 2012. That was a big year for end of the world predictions. Once again, didn't pan out though. Next up we have David Ike. David Ike is a British conspiracy theorist known for promoting some pretty unconventional ideas. One of his most notorious claims involves the existence of shape-shifting reptilian humanoid aliens who, according to him, secretly control the world. You've heard of this stuff before, especially if you watch this channel. Ike suggests that many prominent figures, world leaders, and celebrities for the most part, are actually reptilians in disguise. The idea that powerful figures are actually reptilian aliens manipulating humanity has become a pretty well-known conspiracy theory at this point, and some people really believe it, like wholeheartedly. Ike has also made plenty of predictions about the end of the world, and as well as other, global conspiracies. He's talked about how the global elite, working in collaboration with these supposed reptilian beings, are orchestrating events to control and manipulate the world, and of course, they don't have our best intentions in mind. I guess his publisher might have been one of these reptilians, because at a certain point, apparently he was just like, no more of this. I can't publish any of these books anymore, so now he just self-publishes. He's got like tons of books about this stuff. It's nuts. Finally though, we have Baba Vanga. If you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you've probably heard of this lady before. She's made all kinds of horrific predictions about the future, some of which were pretty eerily accurate. For those of you who aren't aware though, Baba Vanga was a Bulgarian mystic and clairvoyant born in 1911 and died in 1996. She became famous for her apparent ability to make predictions about the future, and a good number of these predictions were pretty bad. Her predictions were wide-ranging, covering global events, natural disasters. One of her biggest apocalyptic predictions was that the world would end in the 51st century, but she didn't really give a lot of explicit detail about how that would occur, so good luck to us trying to avoid it. Similar to Nostradamus, her prophecies were usually a bit on the cryptic side, open to interpretation.
Number 10. John Travolta. John Travolta is an American actor. He came to public attention during the 1970s, appearing on the television sitcom Welcome Back fat coder, and starring in the box office success Carrie. He has many accolades as he's won a Golden Globe Award and been nominated for 6, been nominated for 2 Academy Awards, and has a Primetime Emmy Award. He's best known for his roles in Grease, Pulp Fiction, and Saturday Night Lights. This photo, dated over 150 years ago, surfaced at an online auction a few years ago with an asking price of around $50,000. Notice anything? It looks exactly like John. The seller, a woman identifying as Fawn, was surprised by the commotion it caused as potential buyers were surprised by its resemblance to John. Fawn said most people were curious or just thought the photo was fake or that I was weird. It's a really cool photograph, but I never thought it would cause this sort of hoopla funny. It truly does look like him though, you can't deny it. Number 9. Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is an American actor and film producer who is the recipient of various accolades, including an Academy Award, a Screen Actors Guild Award, and a Golden Globe Award. He's best known for his films Ghost Rider, National Treasure, and Con Air. This photo of an unnamed Tennessee man taken during the Civil War looks exactly like Nicolas Cage. A lot. You can't tell me that's not Nicolas Cage. The seller, who has put the image at a starting price at $1 million, says the photo is 100% genuine and was taken of a man who lived in Bristol, Tennessee around the time of the Civil War. These two men look so much alike that the internet community was convinced that Nicolas may actually be an immortal vampire. He heard about this accusation and addressed the issue in a David Letterman interview saying, "Now look, I don't drink blood, and the last time I looked in the mirror I had a reflection, so I'm not going with his vampire theory." Now, I'm not sure if he's telling the truth though, I definitely think he's a vampire. Number 8. Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin is an American actor, comedian, and producer. He's best known for his roles in 30 Rock, Beetlejuice, and My Sister's Keeper. Alex looks very similar to the 13th President of the United States, Millard Fillmore. They also share many similarities as they were both born in New York to affluent, well-connected families. The difference between them? Oh, about 160 years. Millard was the 13th President of the United States, serving from 1850 to 1853, the last to be a member of the Whig Party while in the White House. A former member of U.S. House of Representatives from upstate New York, Millard was elected as the 12th Vice President in 1848 and succeeded to the presidency in July 1950 upon the death of U.S. President Zachary Taylor. Now, was Alec the president in past life? No one knows except for him. Number 7. Orlando Bloom. Orlando Bloom is an English actor. He made his breakthrough in the Lord of the Rings film series, The Fellowship of the Ring. He's best known for his roles in Carnival Row and the Pirates of the Caribbean films. He has a very strong resemblance to Nicolae Grigorescu, who was an influential 19th century Romanian painter. Nicolae was one of the founders of modern Romanian painting. He was born in 1838 and passed away in 1907. Between 1856 and 1857, he painted the Church of the Zamfira Monastery, Prahova County, and in 1861 the Church of the Agapia Monastery. Seems like in this life, Orlando wanted to be more in front of the camera and be the art instead of creating it like he did in the 1800s, but you can't deny that these two look extremely similar. Number 6. Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence is an actress who was the world's highest paid actress in 2015 and 2016. She appeared in Time's 100 Most Influential People in the World list in 2013 and on the Forbes Celebrity 100 list from 2013 to 2016. She has many accolades including an Oscar, 3 Golden Globe Awards, 6 People's Choice Awards, and 7 MTV Movie Awards. She's best known for her roles in Silver Linings Playbook, Don't Look Up, and the Hunger Games films. Now, Jennifer looks very similar to famous Egyptian actress Zubaida Tharwar. Zubaida was an Egyptian film, stage, and television actress who was known for the most beautiful eyes in classic Egyptian cinema. She was known for movies such as The Guilty, The Other Man, and There Is a Man in Our House. With both of them being famous actresses, I can totally see them being the same person. Number 5. Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon is an American comedian, television host, actor, writer, and American singer. He's best known for his work in television, and his breakthrough came during his tenure as a cast member on the NBC sketch comedy series Saturday Night Live from 1998 to 2004. He then became the host of the late night talk show Late Night with Jimmy Fallon from 2009 to 2014, and became the anchor of The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon following his departure from late night. In addition to his television work, he has released 2 comedy albums and 7 books, mainly aimed at children. Now, Jimmy looks exactly like Mahir Chiran. If I were to put a mustache on Jimmy, they would be the exact same. Mahir was a Turkish Marcus Leninist revolutionary who was born in 1946 and was executed in 1972. Jimmy Fallon was born in 1974, with a 2-year difference between the two. Think about it. Could it be a coincidence? Maybe, but it could also be reincarnation. Couldn't it? I think so. Number 4. Peter Dinklage. Peter Dinklage is an American film, television, and stage actor. He received international recognition for being on the HBO television series Game of Thrones. Due to this, he won the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series, a record of 4 times. He also received a Golden Globe Award in 2011 and a Screen Actors Guild Award in 2020 for the role. Now, Peter has a common form of dwarfism known as achondroplasia, as he stands 4 feet and 5 inches tall, and due to this he has used his celebrity status to raise social awareness. Now it seems like Peter looks exactly like this man from this painting, the portrait of Sebastian de Mora. The painting is by Diego Velázquez of Sebastian de Mora, a court dwarf and jester at the court of Philip IV of Spain. It was painted around 1644 and is now in the Prado in Madrid. They look exactly the same, but the fact that they both have dwarfism is crazy to me. They are truly the same person. Number 3. Conan O'Brien. Conan O'Brien is an American television host, comedian, writer, and producer. He's best known for having hosted late night talk shows for almost 28 years, beginning with The Late Night Show with Conan O'Brien and The Tonight Show with Conan O'Brien on the NBC television network and Conan on the cable channel TBS. Now before his hosting career, he was a writer for the NBC sketch comedy series Saturday Night Live from 1988 to 1991 and the Fox animated sitcom The Simpsons from 1991 to 1993. He has also been the host of the podcast series Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend since 2018 and is expected to launch a new show on HBO Max. He looks exactly like Marshall H. Twitchell in this photo. Marshall was born in 1840 and passed away in 1905. He was a teacher, officer in the Union Army, and a businessman. Originally from Vermont, he became a prominent political figure in Louisiana's post-war Reconstruction, including 2 terms as a Republican member of the Louisiana State Senate. After the war, he returned north, served as a diplomat in Canada, and wrote a memoir. I truly think this was Conan in a past life. Number 2. Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg is an American businessman and internet entrepreneur. He's known for co-founding the social media website Facebook and its parent company Meta Platforms, which he is the chairman, chief executive officer, and controlling shareholder. In 2007, at age 23, he became the world's youngest self-made billionaire. He has used his funds to organize multiple charities, including the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. Since 2008, Time magazine has named Mark among the 100 most influential people in the world as a part of its Person of the Year award. In the Forbes 400 list of wealthiest Americans in 2022, he was ranked 11th with a wealth of $57.7 billion. As of February 2023, his net worth was $68.6 billion, according to the Forbes Real-Time Billionaires, making him the 16th richest person in the world. Now, with all of this money, is it possible that he could time travel? Yes, 100%. And he looks exactly like Philip IV, also called the Planet King. He was the king of Spain from 1621 to his death in 1640, and he is remembered for his patronage of the arts. Why not go from being a king of a country to a king of the internet and metaverse? This seems like something Mark would do. And coming in at number 1 is Adam Schulman and Anne Hathaway. Adam Schulman is an actor and producer known for Seesaw Monster, The Shower, and Song 1. He married his wife Anne Hathaway in 2012. Now Anne is an American actress and is the the recipient of various accolades, including an Academy Award, a Golden Globe Award, and a Primetime Emmy Award. She was among the world's highest paid actresses in 2015 and is best known for her roles in The Devil Wears Prada, Les Miserables, and The Princess Diaries. Now, does the name Anne Hathaway sound familiar? Everyone's heard of William Shakespeare. What you probably don't know about the famous English playwright is that he had a wife named Anne Hathaway. But that's not the scary part. Adam looks exactly like William Shakespeare. Perhaps him and his wife came back for some unfinished business and to provide the world with more art. Everyone on the internet believes this, as people say they came back for each other, eternal lovers, and history hath a way of repeating itself. Another wrote, immortals must hate all of us for exposing them online, lol, and one fan claimed Shakespeare made a deal with his wife, I get to be famous in this life and you get to be famous in the next. I truly believe this, the resemblance is uncanny. A time traveler known only as Noah claims to be from the year 2030. Now this story I'm telling you is from 2017, so just keep that in mind. He turned up on the radio show Kyle and Jackie O and told them that he traveled multiple times in the past but was stuck in the present day. I usually went from like early 1999 to like 2018 around here, but when I got stuck I was in the year 2017, he explained. So how does he do it? I have many body implications and things all over myself, and I step in this giant dome and these things fire up, and basically a large electronic weight basically pushes you through time. It feels like you got electrocuted, he said. Now, one of the most shocking things was that he claims that us humans will be able to communicate with aliens. He said, we've confirmed the existence of aliens, but they're not incredibly intelligent. Right now, the government has communication with them, but we don't know it. In the future, we actually are in contact with aliens that are just as smart as humans, although we have many more advancements over them, he said. Now, of course, his claims have attracted skepticism, and in response, he agreed to take a lie detector test on camera. He listed events he said will happen in the next 12 years, and then the interviewer asked if he was telling the truth, and the machine records that he is. I mean, I guess this guy is legit. Up next is the chain of events. TikTok user Eno Alarkic, who is a time traveler from 2671, has gained thousands of followers on the app by posting warnings about future events. In one video, Eno wrote, "Attention, I am a time traveler from the year 2671, and I'm here to warn you about these 5 dates to come. November 30th, 2022, the James Webb Telescope discovers a planet that is a mirrored version of Earth. January 1st, 2023, a plane flying over the Bermuda Triangle goes missing. March 3rd, 2023, a message is received all around the world that seems to have come from the ocean. May 15th, 2023, a 750 mega tsunami hits the California coast, mainly San Francisco. And June 18th, 2023, 7 people mysteriously fall from the sky, but there was nothing flying in that area." Now, how believable is this? Well, I don't really think any of this happened, but just the thoughts of these events even happening is chilling. Moving on to the alien invasion. On March 23rd, 2023, a time traveler who warned of an alien invasion claims that said extraterrestrials had arrived on Earth and abducted 8,000 Earthlings. The champion has arrived to bring 8,000 people to another planet, they said. The so-called time traveler warned of a very hostile alien species known as the Distance that are coming to take back the Earth. It's a fight we will not win. They claim that the champions were looking for the best engineers, scientists, doctors, and leaders, and these 8,000 people are what keep the human species alive from inside and outside threats. Thankfully though, they add, I want you all to know that you are safe, and I'm trying to warn you of what's to come. Now, last year we were having all those weird UFO sightings. Could those have been related to this incident they are talking about? I don't know, maybe. Now we have the dangers of technology. A time traveler claims to have come back from the future to warn us all of an impending apocalypse, humans versus technology. They said there was one huge computer controlling everything, which is not controlled by a person, but makes all demands and decisions itself. Apparently the computer had the power to destroy the entire planet at once. So did this person really just confirm that we live in a simulation? I think so. Now, speaking to the camera, the time traveler, who had his voice and identity changed to protect himself, said, I was not born here, I was born in 3258 on December 1st in the European Empire. Now, the time traveler explained that he was drafted into the army at 18 18 and wore a uniform made of gold and saw everything that happened in 3260. He said there were not only robots, they were very clever and can take the decisions communicated with each other. He said the war began on September 21st, 33,000 when he was 42, and that there has never been such a war on the planet. It was fateful and tragic for all people all over the world. Now, I'm not gonna lie guys, I feel like this is plausible and makes me scared, but I won't be alive in 33,000, so I don't really have to worry. Now let's talk about the alien war. A time traveler from the year 2858 has claimed the world will end in 2038 during a war with an alien species that has apparently already invaded Earth. A mysterious social media user who claims to be a time traveler from the year 2858 has claimed to know how the world is going to end. The user claims that aliens have come to Earth to take over the planet, but the war apparently won't start until 2024. Now, guys, let me remind you that we are in 2024 right now. They said the first war will begin in early 2024 and will end in 2038 with the Earth being destroyed. Captioning the clip, they added, "Another species of aliens save us, but not the planet." The first being that everyone would dream of an alien invasion by a species called the Zells on February 28th before the actual invasion, which was supposedly meant to take place on March 2nd. Now people took to the comments to debate whether the alleged warnings could come true or not. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Catastrophic events are next. A time traveler from the year 3036 has left us some scary messages about the future. In a series of videos posted on his channel, the mysterious traveler claims the world's population in 3036 will reach record levels, with domestic animals such as cats and dogs considered exotic. Now he also warned of something called the Big Blackout. The Big Blackout, if I'm not mistaken, happens in December 2052. Basically everything goes dark for an upward of 5 years, the internet, the power, it all gets disconnected on account of what's called the terrors, but many speculate otherwise. Anyway, 5 years, it's turmoil, riots, you name it, it's pretty much the worst of times. It takes them upwards to 20 years to get the power back online, and even then it's absolute chaos. Now he also added, "You're as free as you're ever gonna get right now," he said, staring directly back into the camera. "These are considered the last days of freedom, your kids won't even see it, so suck it up, because as simple-minded as your time period is, you got it pretty good, you just don't know it." Yeah, that is scary. I do not like that. Then we have the end of humanity. A TikToker that goes by Javier claims to be a time traveler. Javier's first video, posted in February 2021, depicts scenes throughout the city of Valencia, Spain that look relatively normal, except for one fact: the city appears to be completely void of people. In the video, which has been viewed over 7 million times, he claims to be a time traveler from the year 2027. He says that by then humanity will have gone extinct. A translation of the text within the video describes the eerie scene. Nobody in shopping malls, nobody on the streets. In a video posted soon after, he adds, "I keep trying to find human life, I'm starting to lose hope." Now, what happens to humans, he doesn't say, but 2027 isn't too far away, and we have to prevent whatever he claims will happen. On to the time travel program. A disguised woman who has introduced herself as Mia claims to have been recruited into a secret US time travel program before she finished high school. The alleged time traveler said she was offered good money to travel nearly 600 years into the future, where the world is completely different to how we know it today. Allegedly, the world faces the irreparable consequences of climate change, the rise of artificial intelligence, and aliens settling on Earth. Now this seems realistic. Now by the year 2600, the concept of independent nations will cease to exist, and humans will be ruled over by a world government run by AI. At the same time, humans will supposedly live in 11 megacities spread across the globe, where they will coexist with smart robots and aliens. The time traveler said, "I visited the year 2600 and it's very hard to explain to you what it was like because it's so different from the world we live in today. I saw robots, aliens, and human beings all living together in peace." And she added that, "I talked to people from this time and they told me how the world had changed. They said that the red sky was caused by global warming and that they all had microchips in them that made them smarter than their brains normally were. They said countries no longer existed and that the whole world was governed by AI." Yeah, That sounds terrifying. Next up, we have Trevor the Time Traveler. Self-proclaimed Trevor the Time Traveler is from the year 2049, and he claims to know when World War III will break out. He claims to be visiting from over 2 decades into our future in search of his pal Roger, aka Kronos. But while on his so-called mission, he stopped to make videos warning people of what's to come, with claims about catastrophic events from aliens to natural disasters. However, among these warnings, Trevor claimed to know when World War III would break out and shared information to his followers. In a clip, Trevor wrote, "Here are 3 dates that something terrible is going to happen. Remember this date: February 21st, 2024, something very big will happen. May 29th, 2030, a 3rd World War will start, lasting 7 years between the North and South. And 2037, the war ends and the second baby boom happens, growing the population too high." And last on our list is that the US is destroyed. A TikTok time traveler posted a video saying, "I'm a real time traveler from the year 2236, and I've come to a date and time to warn you about upcoming events in the next few years," they wrote. They said in 2022, scientists discover a way to bring back the megalodon shark through using its DNA, and they create a real megalodon in 2023, and surprisingly nothing goes wrong. In 2025, scientists discover signs of life on 2 different planets, and they're proven to be more advanced than humans, they predicted. A meteor will come down to Earth in 2034 and will wipe out half of America, they said, and the alleged time traveler suggests that 50% of the US would be destroyed in just 12 years. The self-confessed Time Lord made another forecast for the upcoming decade, as they predicted the Maui dolphin will become extinct. Now this isn't all. The TikToker also claimed that Disney will buy another large film studio, and one of the largest tornadoes will hit North America, causing many casualties. Now, while we don't know if the Meg is back yet, I think this is believable. We'll also just have to wait until 2025 to see if they're right.